I usually don't jump on things when I first hear them. For example, uh, your program, I looked at your emails probably every day for 6 months. 6 months
Yeah.
before I I wanted to know how much is this going to cost? What is this? Is this guy for real? And I did some Google searches on. Eventually, I felt like I need to get myself together here, and that's when I went ahead and gave you the call. Well, eventually, I did end up giving you a call, and I'm glad that I did. And I've stuck with the program since day one.
And you said, Lance, I want someone who is going to take me beyond the finish line, take me to the finish line, someone who's going to get me there.
That's why I was looking for somebody else to be more of a coach, and not just to read books, because I'd already done that. So uh, that's when I came across your program.
Mm-hmm.
And after watching you over and over and reading some of the things, felt like, yeah, I think this might be worth taking a chance on. I mean, everything's a gamble. You take risks, and you take calculated risks, and it was a calculated risk because it wasn't cheap. Not that I can't afford it, but even for me, it's an investment.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's no guarantees on an investment. You're taking a little bit of a risk. Some are less risky than others, but I felt like on balance it was worth the risk, and I took it, and I'm glad I did. Well, there's a lot of parts to what you put into your presentation, and some will appeal to some people, some will appeal to another. And for me, when you went into the neuroplasticity thing, that somehow triggered something in my mind. Yes, of course this works. This is how you develop, brain patterns over time. And some of the reading that I had done about how to form habits, etc., also kicked in, and I realized, okay, we're forming a habit here, a set of habits that are going to become part of who you are. And then I had also spent time, reading certain books and with my religious prayer life. And there had been times in my life when I felt like I've got it together. I've got this sense of oneness, and things are moving along, and it's not a struggle, it's easy. And when I look back on those times, I realize a lot of those times had to do with the consistency of my practice. And so putting those things together helped me realize very early on that, yes, this is likely to be the way to get to where I need to be. Now, what I didn't foresee at the beginning was,
Okay.
How do you actually accomplish this, and how do you modify it over time as life changes? And so that's part of what I picked up, and it's why I was so interested and asked you a lot of questions in our coaching sessions about how do you do this? How do you do that? How often do you change this? How do you structure it so that it changes along with you? And you were able to help me understand how that changes for you and how I need to change it for myself. The old phrase, it's not practice that makes perfect, it's perfect practice that makes perfect, you know, is part of this. And that's why I think you keep coming back to how you actually structure your time and how you do it, and why you're so insistent on it being perfect, which I think does help. Even from the first time we talked, I was impressed by your confidence. And that has a lot to do with inspiring confidence in others. You were very confident that you could be helpful, even from the very first time that we spoke on the phone before I even signed up for the program. And it was pretty obvious to me, you've done this for some time, you've practiced this, you have a program that you know in and out, and you're not starting out with me. You've gone through this with many other people and seen them progress from where they were to the good space that they're in now. And so that builds confidence that someone like you has done this before successfully. So not just done it, but done it successfully. I was subsequently impressed by how available you were. So anytime I seemed to text you or email you, you returned it almost immediately. And I was thinking, does this guy ever sleep? I know I'm not your only client. There's many people you're working with at any given time. And yet I felt like you might as well have been working with me one-on-one. Well, you were working with me one-on-one,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't feel like I had to stand in line to get access and to get an answer to a question. So that part of it is part of the professionalism that you exhibited through the whole process that I appreciated so much and that I sensed from our first conversation. Lance, I think that even within a week, I started to feel like there was a difference in how I felt on a day to day basis. And a lot of it had to do with just the first few videos that you sent and asked us to watch.
Mm-hmm.
One of those was a short video on neuroplasticity, and I told you that helped bring me in terms of my buy in that there's something actually physical going on here, that it's not just happy talk. And
Yeah.
so, within a week, I think I started to see things a little differently. I'm much more confident, I
Mm-hmm.
think, as I go forward than I was before I started. And I am very happy that I feel like I have a tool that I can use that's going to keep me moving forward no matter what happens. And having that tool in my back pocket is kind of like having an insurance policy
Yeah.
that I know I can count on. I've got something that I can help myself get past times that are harder. And I've already had to go through, a couple of those, and I already know how much I benefited from those compared to how I'm sure I would have reacted in the past. So I feel pretty good about where things are going. Am I where I want to be? I'm never going to be exactly where I want to be, but I'm getting better. And as long as I'm moving forward, I'm going at the right speed.
Mm-hmm.
Every day, do a little bit more and get myself to the next level on this. And I think that this program has done that for me. I really feel like I know that many of the people who take your program are at rock bottom. I mean, they're down in the dumps, they've hit the bottom, they need somebody to pull them up. I can't tell you that that's where I was. I wasn't at rock bottom. I wasn't bad. I was doing okay. But I felt like when I looked at life, it was like looking through wavy glass or old glass if you've ever been in an old building. It's like I know there's things there, but they're not really in the right focus. They're kind of wavy, and so by going through this, I feel more like somebody's taken and replaced the glass, and it's nice and clear, and it's new glass, and there it is. You can see it. It's focused properly. So I've got a sight picture now, and you still have to do the work every day, but at least you have a better idea of where you're going, and you can eliminate some of the distractions that tend to creep in over time and get you off track for where you want to go. So I'm happy with that. Yeah, several times. I mean, small challenges or even medium sort of life challenges. And in the past, it would have taken me days or even weeks
Mm-hmm.
to get past the negative emotions and the feelings. And I would have ruminated over and over on the negative parts of this and how I'd been cheated and, life had treated me poorly. And it took maybe minutes, hours, maybe a day or two. And then I was back to feeling like I was on top of things. And you talk about how when you're feeling right and you're projecting that, life gives it back to you, and it's absolutely true. And there's other gurus that talk about that using different language, but it's true. You exude some kind of an aura, and people pick up on that. And if
Yep.
it's good vibes or if it's good karma or whatever you want to call it, they give it back to you, and things tend to work out better for you than when you're walking around projecting negativity. And I see and work with people who do exactly that, and they never get past, their divorce, or they never get past the bad job that they had in the past, or bad boss, or whatever it is, and you just feel sorry for them. It's that
Yeah.
they're torturing themselves, and it doesn't do them any good. It certainly doesn't affect the other person one way
Right.
or the other,
Yep.
who doesn't care about them from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And so the only person that's hurt by it is you.
Yep.
So get past it because you need to be better. Again, I know that a lot of your advertising, a lot of your marketing is to people who really are feeling pretty bad
Mhm.
and have just gone through something or can't pull themselves out of the dumps. And obviously, the program is going to be great for those people.
Right.
But like I said, I wasn't at that point. I wasn't really down in the dumps. I knew I had some things that I needed to do.
Mhm.
And I also knew I had some skills, and I felt like I could get there. I just needed somebody to help me sort of put it all together.
Right.
So I think that you don't have to be somebody who's down in the dumps or, at the worst part of their life. Even somebody who mostly has it together
Mhm.
could benefit from this kind of an approach, this kind of a program to help them organize their thoughts, help them organize their day, help them organize the way that they think so that they can really achieve more than they ever thought. So it's not just for the people who are in a bad situation, it can be for anybody, unless you're already there, which very few people are. I now have the confidence that I've got a tool that
Okay.
I can use to bring myself pretty much anywhere I want to go.
Awesome.
And so then it becomes, where do I want to go?
Right. Right. Okay.
You can lead yourself to anything. You can teach yourself anything. So where do you want to go? And so I have that confidence that I can get where I want to go now, even though I'm not necessarily there, but primarily it's because I haven't decided which direction I want to go. And that's on me. But I'm confident that I've got a tool that will help me get to where I want to go. And based on some of my other thoughts over the last couple of months, I feel like some of my decisions are starting to come into focus and are becoming a little bit more clear. I do need to move this direction. I do need to think about improving this part of my life. And so I'm very happy with that part of how I've done. It's one thing to hear it, it's another thing to experience it, but you can read books as much as you want. There comes a time, and there are certain things in life that you can't get from watching on YouTube or you can't get from reading a book. You need someone to show you. You need to see it happen at
Mhm.
least one time. And the best example for me is how to sharpen a chisel. You can read about it and you can watch a YouTube video, but you actually have to put a chisel in your hand and sharpen it and get a razor edge at least once, and then you've got it. And so that's part of what I knew even before I started. I need somebody to show me and walk me through this. Once I see it, I think I'll get it, but I got to see it done
Gotcha.
once. And so if there's somebody out there that's, thinking, well, I'll just go find an old copy of Lance's book. Well, great.
Right. Right.
If you can find a copy, it'll be helpful to you. But again, it's one of those things where you're going to have to get someone to walk you through it, not just to be sitting in the classroom where someone else goes through it, but help you go through it. So I would encourage people to think about that.